Hello everyone and welcome back to the preliminaries of the Airthings Masters. It's Daniil Dubov versus Anish Giri from a very exciting game. I know I already uploaded 3 videos today and I promise this is the last one, but it's a very short game. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it, so let's just not waste any time and dive straight into it. So Dubov, after losing the game to Magnus with the white pieces against Anish Giri, who had a tough day yesterday but now is trying to bounce back in the tournament. So let's see what happens here. Dubov with the white pieces opens with e4. We have e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, and bishop to b5. So the Ruy Lopez is on the board. And knight to f6. Giri goes for the Berlin defense. We have castles by Dubov, and now knight captures on e4. Sorry about that. Knight captures on e4. The Rio Gambit. We have d4 striking in the center, and now knight to d6, attacking the bishop here. So this is nothing new. We have d captures on e5, sacrificing the bishop on c4, on b5, but not really, because after knight captures a4, Dubov attacks back the knight. So this is nothing spectacular. There are over 650 games in the database from top-tier tournaments with this exact same position. So both of them, of course, know this very well. Knight b to d4, this is how you give back the piece. Knight captures, and now Giri strikes in the center with the d5, opening up his light square bishop and preparing to further develop. And here, the most common replies are captures on d6 en passant and knight captures on c6. But Dubov goes for c3, and this is an extremely rare move. We have bishop to e7, and now f4, strengthening the center here. And there is one game in the database where f6 was played. It was played in 2019 in Ukrainian Women's Championship between Elizaveta Hrebenchkova and Evgenia Doluhanova, and that game ended in a draw. But here, Giri just castles, and it is basically, as of move 10, that we have a completely new game. So let's see how Dubov deals with it. With bishop to e3, he continues development, and now Giri strikes in the center with f6. We have knight captures on c6, b captures, and now knight to d2, preparing to shift the knight over to f3, maybe to d4, if needed, maybe to b3, we'll see what happens. Bishop to a6 by Giri, attacking the rook here on f1, and now Dubov just lifts it. Rook to f3, and now f captures on e5. Dubov recaptures, now offers a trade here of rooks, but first Giri develops the queen. Queen to d7. Now the rooks are nicely connected, and here Giri can trade and then bring the other rook into the game via rook a to f8. So knight to b3, now controlling this c5 square nicely twice, and here Giri trades as planned. Rook captures, queen captures, and rook to f8. Now attacking the queen, and the queen back to g3. And here we have queen to f5, a very nice move, and with the bishop on a6, it's very hard for Dubov to get this rook into the game. And here Dubov says, okay, I definitely have some back rank issues, I'm gonna play h3, make some room on h2 for my king, and now it seems like Giri's position is very, very impressive. He seems to be on the attack. He has 2 bishops, and it seems like everything is, going his way. But try and make a move for Black in this position. Like if you look at it, there really is no natural move you can make. Like you can't push any of the pawns. If you push here, you just weaken your king. What do you play with the queen? There are no moves you can play with the queen. So here it's actually very, very difficult for Black to make a move. That doesn't necessarily always mean your position is bad, because maybe White also is struggling with the moves. However, this is not the case. And here Giri in fact goes for the absolute best move. He plays queen to c2, which is one of the active moves, one of the very few active moves in the position, attacking the knight. Also the b2 pawn is under attack. So here, what do you play? It's a very delicate position, so feel free to pause the video and try to find the best move for White while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on spotting Dubov's idea. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it's bishop to c5. And it's a very, very tricky idea. Basically, this is how you save your pieces. For example, if bishop captures on c5, then you capture. Knight captures on c5, and Black has no time to do any capturing because the bishop on a6 is under attack. And also the knight from c5 controls e6. So even if you go back, e6 is just extremely strong, and now it's a It's a really terrible position to play for black, so that's out of the question. So another thing after bishop to c5 is can you try and snatch the pawn? Maybe you can snatch the pawn, later on you can capture the knight. Well, this is what happens. Bishop captures on e7. Okay, you're gonna play rook f7 and you're gonna capture one of the two pieces next. The problem is after bishop back to c5 and queen captures on b3, again e6 is deadly. Because now the rook really has no good squares. You can try something like rook to f6, but then bishop to d4. Now you have to guard against checkmate, so rook to g6, pretty much only move. And now you can even play e7. This is how powerful Dubov's position is, where if you capture the queen, now it's just pawn to e8, you grab a queen and it's checkmate. Or queen to b8, guarding against checkmate, but now queen captures on c7. Another beautiful queen sacrifice before checkmate. If queen captures again, this is checkmate. So you'd have to move the queen, and then finally rook to b1 with the idea of rook to b8 is enough to win the game for white. So really a delicate position after Dubov's bishop to c5 move. This is really crazy, and Giri again plays the absolute best move, queen captures on b3. So basically just a trade of pieces. We have bishop captures on bishop captures on e7, attacking the rook here, and now rook to f7. It's a good square for the rook. Also, you don't want to allow e6 with tempo, so attacking the bishop makes sense. We have bishop back to c5 by Dubov, and now again a very delicate position. It's not easy to decide what to play here. Like for example, if queen captures on b2, rook e1 is enough to win the game. Then all of these squares are pretty much covered. There's no way to defend against e6, e7, e8. Another thing, it's very difficult to find a move. Queen to c4 is one such move that allows black to continue the game with a lot of pressure here on the f1 square, and also the bishop being under attack. But after the bishop is defended and the pieces are traded here, rook f1 check, captures and captures with check, king h2. Again, black's position is really hard to play because this past e-pawn is simply too strong. For example, queen f5 guards the e6 square, but you push it all the same. Doesn't really matter. Queen captures on c7, and it's two queens on the board and two bishops, but they are bishops of opposite colors. And as it usually is when you have the case of bishops of opposite colors being on the board, the side who is attacking is, well, it's like that side is up a piece because the light square bishop cannot oppose the dark square bishop. So if you have some sort of an attack, it's like black would be defending being down a piece. So it would be extremely difficult to hold this. So here, returning to that famous bishop to c5 move, after Dubov played this, Giri tried bishop to c8, stopping the e6 pawn this way. But this just completely blunders the game. So for the last time, pause the video and win this game for Dubov while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on being on track with Dubov's creativity. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it's queen to g5, and there is no defense against all the threats here. Just queen to d8 check will end the game. For example, if you make a silly move, queen d8 check, rook has to block, queen captures on f8 is checkmate. There's no way around that. So here, Giri cannot defend against all of the threats. He has to prevent checkmate. He plays h5, but now Dubov continues again with queen to d8 check, and the bishop on c8 is lost. King h7, and queen captures on c8. And now, okay, it's a rapid game. Maybe Giri can still do some damage as, not a lot of time. But Dubov, being up a piece is a very formidable opponent. So queen captures on b2 was played by Giri, and immediately rook to f1. Now Dubov wants to trade. We have rook captures by Giri, king captures, and now queen to c1 with check. Now Giri will try to pick off all of these pawns with tempo, so he has to do it with check. King f2, queen d2 check. We have king to g1, now queen to e1 with check. King to h2, and now he picks up this pawn again with check. King h1, and now there's no way to pick it up again with check. Well, you could go queen to e1, but then just bishop to g1, and you have no more checks. So first, captures on c3, now with tempo, the bishop being attacked, but still, before retreating, first queen to f5 check, king to g8, and now bishop to g1. And Giri has a lot of pawns, but they are not fully ready to start being pushed forward. d4, you could play it right away, but the black king is in such a bad position that you will be able to deliver some checks and then pick up the d4 pawn. So instead we have a5 here, and now comes queen captures on h5, and now queen to c4. We have queen to e8 with check, king to h7, and now queen to e5, keeping an eye on the dark squares here. So c5, now preparing finally to push those pawns, and now queen captures on c7. And here just d4. Giri has to try and push those pawns to victory. Dubov says, I have plenty of time to grab another pawn, so queen captures on a5. Queen to c1 now, pinning this bishop, now trying to get this pawn down the board, but simply queen to d8, stopping the pawns. We have queen to c3, now again preparing to advance the pawns, but now we have a5. Now Dubov also starts pushing his past a pawn. d3, we have a6, d2 by Giri, and now a7. And it was in this position on move 42 that Anish Giri resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. Dubov is getting another queen, and there's nothing you can do here. If queen to a3 stopping that, of course Dubov would very happily trade, captures, and now it's very easy to pick up this pawn as well. For example, queen c2 check, king here. You can even capture on c5, and of course the game is completely winning for Dubov. But this is all just basically, technical grind. After this was played, this bishop to c8 move, basically the game ended here on move 22. The rest was just, a follow-up, being an extra piece. So yeah, that's the game. Another brilliancy by Dubov, and you can see how he finds, even in the Ruy Lopez, which is such an analyzed opening that these top players, it's impossible to surprise them in such an opening, and especially Giri, who is a master of opening theory. Dubov still finds a way to create madness on the board, and all of these checkmates you've seen in variations that didn't happen, it's just very enjoyable. So I hope they invite Dubov to play in absolutely every tournament that will ever happen, because he's just what we need in times like these. So yeah, once again, I do hope you enjoyed it. Sorry again for so many videos today. I would like to thank Robert F., Gerard Christmas, Michael Drews, James Talmage, and Benjamin Davidson for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot, I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon. Continuing the coverage of this very nice tournament, checking up on your wonderful suggestions, and whatever else happens in the chess world. Thank you all, I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.